Hey, it's Chuck. If you're white and you think that Juneteenth is about a date, then this one's for you. Let's dive into it. Today is Juneteenth, and yeah, it's tied to June 19th, 1865, the day that Union soldiers rode into Galveston, Texas, and told enslaved people what the slave owners had known for 2.5 years, that they were free. That's the federal holiday. And if that's all you know, then you're missing almost everything. Because Juneteenth is not about a date, it's about a people. And to understand it even partially, you need to be willing to go back, way back, further back than 1865, further than 1619, all the way back to where this story actually starts. Before the first slave ship even left the coast of West Africa, there was the Mali Empire, one of the wealthiest civilizations in human history. Mansa Musa, whose pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 was so staggering in its wealth that he single-handedly destabilized the gold market in Egypt, and it took 12 years for the region to recover. There was the University of Timbuktu producing scholars in law, astronomy, mathematics, and medicine, while Europe was still navigating the Dark Ages. The Kingdom of Kush, the Aksumite Empire, centuries of architecture, philosophy, trade, governments, intellectual tradition. This is where the story begins. And then came 407 years of a system designed to make that origin story disappear, to replace it with chains, to convince an entire people and an entire world that their history started at the auction block. Spoiler alert, it didn't. And if you grew up in America and none of this was in your history class, I need you to sit with why that is. The best part of this story, though, is what those 407 years produced anyway. In spite of everything, the blues, jazz, rock and roll, hip hop, gospel, the food that built American cuisine, the language that shaped American culture, the fashion, the swagger, the style that dominant culture has been taking and repackaging and selling back for a century, mutual aid networks that held communities together when the government wouldn't, churches that were schools and banks and courthouses and sanctuaries all at once. A tradition of excellence produced under conditions specifically designed to prevent it. And while that was happening, the entire economic foundation of this country was being built on their backs for free, without consent and without credit. Dr. Akbar, one of the most influential scholars in African American psychology, has spent his career writing about what it means for a community to know its full story, not just the wound, but the depth that existed before the wound and the extraordinary things that were built after it. Because identity that knows its own roots is fundamentally different from identity that starts at its lowest moment. One has somewhere to stand. The other is always measuring itself against what was done to it. And so when you show up to a Juneteenth celebration today, understand what you're in the presence of. You are standing next to people whose ancestors built civilizations, survived a 407-year campaign to erase them, created the cultural foundation of the country that enslaved them, and are still here, still building, still marking this date that they kept alive for 160 years without your help or your awareness. It's not a federal holiday. That's a testament. And understanding that, really understanding it, present tense, past tense, and ancient past tense, still doesn't get you an invitation to the cookout, nor should it, but it is a start. I'm Chuck, the bald therapist. Work on you, take no bullshit. And today, do the reading before you show up. Remember that you matter, and have a gentle rest of your day.